Nick from Glowforge.
Welcome to another weekly live stream where we will be printing on Glowforge 3D laser printer. This is a Glowforge Pro here today, and we're doing something that only the Pro can do.
That's right. We are printing a giant pass-through name sign. And
Yes.
I say giant, this one's probably going to turn out to be about 3 feet long.
Yep.
But the point of this is to show you how easy pass-through is to use.
Yeah.
We get a lot of questions about it. I know it's one of those mythical features, if you like, that a lot of you who own Pros probably haven't really delved into.
Yep. It can be intimidating. It
Absolutely, yeah. And for the longest time, we didn't showcase it on the live stream because, you know, admittedly, we weren't quite sure if we were ready to do it either.
Right,
but
yeah.
We did it one day.
Now we're doing it all the time.
All the time, yes.
So, so to back up, if any of you out there are already Glowforge owners, we'd love to know like where you're, well, whether or not you're a Glowforge owner, we'd love to know where you're joining us from. But if you do already have a Glowforge, love to know which one you have, what you make. If you have like a business or show off your crafts on Instagram or something like that, please show us. The Glowforge Pro that we have here today is the only one with the pass-through slot. The Glowforge Plus and Basic can do pretty much all the other capabilities, but not this pass-through feature that we're doing today, which is where we can use this huge 4-foot piece of wood or longer. It could be 50 feet if we had such a piece of wood to do long continuous prints. So we're going to show you that here today. But yeah, whether or not you have a Pro, if you got real creative with themes, you could figure out how to do long signs on your Plus or Basic. We should do a stream of that sometime too.
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
So anyway, yeah, thanks for joining us. And Nick actually already kind of got us prepped, so we're actually mid-print right now.
Yes, yeah. Like we said, we've done this a couple of times before, and we've always started the print from the beginning.
Right.
And with pass-through, the sort of processing of it is what takes the most time.
Sure.
And so this time I thought, well, let's do half of it. Let's kick it off in the middle so we don't keep you hanging around for too long, but we still get to showcase exactly how it works, and then we get to finish the sign itself. Now, one caveat here. I started this print, and I didn't think about this until right now, on my personal computer, and I've now switched to another one which we use for these streams. I have never started a pass-through print, paused it halfway, and then restarted it on a different computer.
Yeah,
and I think it will work, but I don't know, so let's find out together.
The Glowforge looks ready. I can see a blinking button.
Yep.
And what you can see if we go to the overhead camera here is that we've got this 4-foot piece of plywood. It's proof grade in its cherry.
Yep.
It's coated with a white coating. We'll show you what it looks like peeled. It's a gorgeous cherry color. So this piece of wood is through the Glowforge. So from this overhead, you can see part of a print that we already did, which looks like this.
There we go, yeah.
And then we've got part of a 3-foot version of this. This is like 1.5 feet, and we're doing like a big giant version of this today.
Yeah. So this one, I mean, that would probably just about fit on a Basic or a Pro.
Right.
Sorry, a Plus.
Right, to do it this way
absolutely,
on the bed
do
right
that way
across.
diagonally maybe if you need to. So we're going a little bit bigger than this.
Yep.
And we chose a name sign because I know that's a very popular print. That
Oh, I mean, you can do it for weddings, for baby nurseries, for birthday parties.
Absolutely.
I mean,
signage in your classroom, that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah.
But this, of course, doesn't apply just to a name sign. You can use the same technique for anything that you wanted to print large scale. So,
we have that thing right
yeah,
there.
stuff like
That
this,
thing. It's a
that
height
thing.
chart. We've done a couple different height chart concepts because these again are really like fun to make them really personalized. Like this one would be cool if we had added like a teacher's name or something, and it could be in a classroom. And it's this to me looks like acrylic or something because it's like painted so nicely. But if you flip it over, it's actually just wood.
Yeah, just a piece of plywood. That's it. Yeah. And we got some acrylic letters on here that we cut out. Those wouldn't have to be cut out on a Pro.
One, here, let's look at that close up because,
ooh. Sorry.
What's really cool is that, I'm surprised that hasn't happened, to be honest.
But you can see the dimensionality of that there. That's 1/8 inch thick, or what we call medium acrylic.
Isn't that nice?
It's been glued to the surface. And as part of the print, what we actually did, and it might be kind of hard to see on camera, is score the position of those letters on the surface.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we knew exactly where to
really,
glue them.
really close. You
So
can
it looks
see underneath
like
there's like a guideline basically that was engraved on, or scored, excuse me, on there.
And it looks like you end up being like very good at aligning things with glue, but actually we cheated using lasers.
Yes,
but the results, it's worth it.
I really should use more guidelines in my home decorating. There's some questionable placement of paintings and stuff.
It's organic. It's artistic.
Like
it's handmade.
An eclectic look.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
And Nick actually has some top tips for pass-through that we should make sure that we mention. So if you're attempting this for the first time, we're not really doing this chronologically because we're picking up midway through a print, but it is important to keep a few things in mind as you go. So first of all, you can't see this back here, But a really important thing is keeping the material flat. So you could just use a chair or something. We have this fancy, what is this called?
Don't hit it.
Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh. What is it called?
This I would call a material support or a material stand. A roller stand is another thing.
This thing rolls. I think you can get it at like a hardware store or sort of
This
thing.
one's just from Amazon. It's pretty inexpensive, but you can use a chair and a stack of books. The whole
Sure.
point is the material goes to the machine and it's relatively flat.
I'm like trying to put my elbows down on the camera. There we go.
So not like Bailey's arms. Those are not flat at all.
Those are not flat.
Much flatter than Bailey's arms.
Don't look like that.
But yeah, keep it as flat as possible. This material, especially as it gets long, is kind of flexy. And at the beginning and end of the print, where you have more material sticking out than you have, more material on one end than the other, you'll notice it tries to lift up from the printer bed.
Yep.
And it can affect your ability to cut. But I'm thinking, before we get into too many more of those details, let's kick this off.
Okay.
And then we can start to print as we talk about more of those tips.
Great.
So you want to grab the handhelds.
Yep.
Because I'm hoping we can show you exactly how the laser lines up or connects to the ends of this print that we've partially
So this was
completed.
part 1 of the print, and it looks like that is the word, that is like the OPE of Penelope, or maybe the
Actually,
EL.
this is a totally different name.
Oh gosh.
So if this started printing Penelope, we'd be in trouble. This name is Aoife, actually.
Oh, okay. How do you spell it? EPH?
Aoife. It's an Irish name.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know somebody who spells it with a PH.
Oh,
But
really?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
The Greek
yeah,
way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. But I thought it was a nice name. Looked nice.
Beautiful.
Put into cursive. In
Okay.
cursive font.
So that's an A maybe that we're completing then?
So the A's. Oh wait, this is the end. So we're actually working from the last letter to the first letter. So we've got the E there, the F, the I, and then this is going to be the O.
Spell
I
this
think.
name backwards.
And then, yes, yeah. Spell this Irish name that isn't pronounced
You
phonetically.
chose it.
Yeah, I know. I really did. It's in honor of a colleague that I had when I worked in Apple back in London.
I love it.
Yeah, it's a nice name. But anyway, let's kick this off before we get too carried away with the
Okay.
names itself. And let's see. Now, assuming nobody bumped into this material while we were waiting.
That sounded accusatory.
I mean, it could well have been me. I've definitely done it before.
Did it not work?
No, it did. It worked.
Oh,
perfectly
okay.
Fine. Yeah. Can you? Oh, we can't quite see the laser, can we?
No, we're a little bit blocked, but see that line and how it's...
Ah, my microphone. No. Okay.
Nick's microphone is...
I'll grab that from you. Let's see if it comes around. Now I'm hoping what you'll be able to see is that moment where that laser dot joins up with the next part of the letter. Because the whole point of this pass-through feature is you can design something in exactly the right size, so however big you want it to be, and the computer and the Glowforge, it's just blocked. Anyway, I think you can kind of see
I think
that
you can
works
see
anyway. Yeah. But the computer slices the design up and joins the halves back together again automatically for you. So you don't have to think about any of that dicing and splicing. It's all taken care of. And in essence, all you have to do is draw your design, make it as big as you want it to be, and send it to Glowforge as part of a Pro pass-through print. I'll show you how that works in a sec.
This is going really fast. This was like 2 minutes or something.
This is 2 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah. So with this print, the actual cutting itself is going to be way quicker than the alignment.
Sure.
Because all that computer technology using cameras and things to figure out where stuff is in 3D space and all that kind of jazz, it's pretty difficult to do unless you had really accurate fixtures and jigs.
Sure.
But we're using cameras and software to do it, so you, as a user, don't have to worry about keeping things perfectly aligned. You just shove the material through. I literally mean shove it through.
Oh yeah.
Glowforge figures out where you've been.
You gotta use a little muscle sometimes.
Yeah. Glowforge figured out where it left off, where it was able to print, and it just prints as much as it can in the next section of the print. So essentially our bed is only about 11 inches tall here, so we can only fit 11 inches of the print. So it prints as much as it can, takes a few photos, we move it, it takes some more photos, prints some more, and that's it.
I'm laughing because I picked up this camera and Mike was going to go to it and then I put it down, just faking him out.
Psych.
Oh, you were doing a good job of illustrating with over it. I was going to turn it.
All right, here we go.
Okay, so this is cool how it ended though.
Yes, I think this is a helpful illustration.
Yeah, look at all those different points that it'll have to connect to on the next bit.
And they're basically a straight line, and that's it. And so what's happening now, if Mike wants to switch to my screen really quick, you can see on the sidebar here, we've got a notification saying that the Glowforge is taking pictures. And what that means is it's using the camera in the lid right here in the top of the Glowforge to take a picture of this entire bed. And then it's going to pick a couple of points on this print that it can use as reference marks. And it's going to use the macro camera, which is inside the printer head here, to come across and take some detailed photos and figure out basically the coordinates of where this stuff is. You can see that just happened right there. It's going to take one, I think it'll take two, and then it'll return. We'll get another notification, and after some processing, we can slide the material through. And this will be the moment of truth as to whether we can start a print on one computer.
Oh,
and
really?
then pick it up.
I thought that moment already happened when it started printing.
I already sent it to print from the first computer.
Oh,
so
so
the
well,
second
it's
one.
doing this now, so that
seems to be
that
okay.
seems promising.
Yeah,
okay,
I like it. These are questions I've not had until I try to demonstrate things to people like
Glowforge,
you.
You can start a print
stream.
from as many computers as you want. What everybody wants from their lasers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so if we go back to my screen mic there for a second, we've got a notification.
Oh.
And this is actually quite helpful, I think. For tip number 3,
okay.
We're saying follow the instructions as carefully as you can on the sidebar. And you can see here it's telling us to shift the material forwards. Now, the important thing here is when we push it forwards, we want to leave a little bit of that print left inside the printer bed, like that. And if we switch to the overhead, you see how there's just a little bit left down here. And that's going to allow the camera to come across and take some photos and figure out where it left off, so it can join the next stage of the print.
Let me show you what this looks like from the back, what Nick just did. He just, see how the wood's sticking out? He just used his hands literally to push it.
Just to push it through.
Yeah.
I know some people
right
ask whether it's automated or if there's a conveyor belt or something. There isn't. You just
can
move
see
it.
that the slot's pretty thin. This is about as thick as of material as you want to do with the pass-through. And now he's moving this to the front so it's supported, and we're following our best practices.
And once that's happened, all we do is click continue in the software, and it's going to start. There we go. And so again, we're going to take some photos, figure out where we left off. We'll know that the process is happening because this laser head will move and take some of those close-up pictures again. And then once that's complete, we'll just be able to come back to the software and kick off the next stage of the print. So really simple. Hopefully this seems simple, at least. Anyway, I'm trying to make it simple.
I think it seems intimidating because there are multiple steps. Usually with Glowforge, you just press the button once and that's it. But now it feels like there's maybe like other things you could screw up or do wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's just keeping it, keeping the Glowforge in a controlled environment. If you had like children or pets running around, I do think pass-through could become more challenging. But yeah, as long as you're keeping it steady like this, I mean, so far, we've been brave enough to do it live a bunch of times.
So far, so
good. Yeah. Oh.
There we go. And so the printer head's coming across now, taking those detailed photos, which is great.
Yeah. I ran into a Glowforge owner at a craft fair a couple months ago, just totally on, randomly, just was at a craft fair, noticed some laser cut goods and asked her what kind of laser she had. She said a Glowforge, and she has a Pro, and she said she's starting to get requests for big signs and that people will pay, hundreds of dollars for a custom 4-foot hand-painted wooden name sign. And she was like, but I'm scared. But, it's like such a cool high-value thing that you'd be able to offer. I just saw the name in a couple different fonts. Were you just trying out some?
I was trying out a few different fonts, and I thought maybe we could showcase one of the Glowforge Premium tools that we use to create this while we wait for it to do its processing. Now, we haven't talked about Glowforge Premium very much, but that is an extension, if you like, to Glowforge Print, which is the free app that everybody gets access to when they buy their machine. And it's essentially a number of different tools that we developed to add additional capabilities to your Glowforge that you typically have to turn to other software tools to do, such as making a stamp, for example. We now have a tool that with one click will invert your image, flip it, and make something engravable into a stamp.
Right, and
really
you could
simple.
create that exact image in Illustrator or something if you know how to use design programs. Glowforge Print can read your files from most design programs, PDFs, SVGs, JPEGs, all those standard file types. But we built this like in-app design program to kind of make it just easy if you don't want to master any design programs, and also my favorite is honestly the fonts and the clip art.
Yes. Yeah. And in fact, clip art, I have preconceived notions of what clip art is.
The word clip art. That's a very 90s sounding term, isn't it?
Right. And it's like the low quality kind of images. But if I hit this plus button here on the screen, we'll get Michael to switch to my screen 1 second. Perfect. Here we go. We can see this icon library that we have. And there are over 3 million different things in here. Give me a thing to search for.
Hedgehog.
Hedgehog. How do you spell hedgehog? I actually don't know how to spell
What?
hedgehog. That's
H-E-D-G-E.
I got it right. I got it right.
Yes.
I got it right. But here we go. We have,
Look at
what
them.
is this, like 600 different
And so
hedgehogs?
many different styles. Like you could go cartoony and bold, or some of them are a
yeah.
little bit more like realistic looking.
Oh, this is cute, look.
Thin lines.
Yeah, and we just pick one, click, and then it's loaded into your
That'd be a cute
design.
name for a hedgehog, in
Right?
fact.
Aoife?
Aoife the hedgehog, I love it.
Which actually is a nice segue into the next part of this print that we can do. So here's our icon. And from here, we can copy and paste it if we want to. We could use one of these tools to flip it if we want an upside down hedgehog or a backwards hedgehog. You know, there's all sorts of things that we can do. We can rotate if we want to do that. Or we can use it as part of our composition to create, you know, Aoife the hedgehog sign. And here I've got one of the other tools, which is the text tool open. And when I click on my text, I can change the name at the top or whatever text that I want. And then I can pick from hundreds of different fonts. And these are Google fonts that we have labeled, that we have loaded in here. I honestly don't know how many there are. I don't even think there's a count
I
thing.
like that they're arranged into the types though, like handwriting and romantic or whatever, scripts or whatever they are. It just makes it easier if because you already kind of usually have you don't usually have no idea what you're going for with a font, right?
Exactly, yeah. And the important thing with this type of print, and actually it looks like our next start is ready. If you want to hit that button real quick.
All right.
The important part when we're creating a sign like this is that we want to use a cursive font where all of the letters are connected. And there's lots of options of that available in the software. And in fact, I was taking a look earlier on, and I was able to use the little heart icon next to some of the fonts and favorite them.
Oh.
So you can see a few of the different ones that I picked earlier on.
That.
And here's some examples here on the left. Now, you're not limited to that though. If you wanted to create a sign using a font that wasn't connected, don't worry. We've got a tool for that. I'm going to use Aoife the hedgehog as an example here.
A font that's not connected.
Absolutely.
And therefore you couldn't do a sign like we're doing because it needs to all be one piece.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay. The different pieces would fall apart. And, you know, to be fair, that would be fine. You could always just glue it to the wall or what have you, and that would be okay. Or what you could do is use one of the other tools that we have built in here, and we can select all of our objects that we want to create, and then use this tool called the outline tool here at the top. Create a new outline. And what that's going to do is create a custom backing for our design in the shape of the letters.
This right here is magical because I have been shown by several generous people, I think Nick being one of them more than once, how to do this in Illustrator. But I don't know how to do it in Illustrator.
There are several steps. It's not very straightforward. This makes it much easier.
Yeah.
But another cool thing about this tool, which since we're talking about it, let me show you. I'm going to undo using Command Z that outline that I did, and I'm going to go to the shape tool next. Let's say Aoife, let's say this was a gift tag for somebody called Aoife who liked hedgehogs.
Love it.
Let's grab a circle from the circle tool and let's move it over here. I'm just going to make it slightly smaller. And if I grab everything, including the circle, and use the outline tool, the outline is going to go around that circle there, and we can use this to create a gift tag. Now you'll notice right here that our lines aren't connected.
Right.
A couple of different options. We can adjust the outline by making it a little bit bigger. We'll just slide that slider across until they connect,
and they just
like that.
Together. Yep.
Absolutely. Or we could undo, we could move the circle a little bit closer, do the same thing again, and create our custom gift tag. So you can see how simple and easy it is to create something like this. And you know, if you bring in fonts and imagery and shapes, you can quickly build up to something that's pretty impressive, really.
Yeah, it's very exciting to me when we launch things like that because those sort of things just, I don't know, there's a block in my brain of the design programs, and I could, the other thing is that can be kind of frustrating about learning how to do a specific thing like that. Like say that's just really my thing. I like to, you know, do people's names in a beautiful font and print them out on things. I mean, that's a very popular thing to do, right?
Yeah.
But I would have to like write down the steps to do that or look up documentation. And the problem is they're always changing it. So like the videos are outdated.
Yep.
And you're like, oh, this is Illustrator from 3 years ago and it doesn't work anymore.
It's not ideal. It really isn't. And I mean, I would say even for me, someone who I would consider to be a very seasoned user of graphics programs, sometimes there's something really simple you want to do, like flip a piece of text because you want to engrave the back of a piece of acrylic and then reverse it so the front is all smooth. I don't really want to have to download my image open it in a file where I can flip it, resave it, re-upload it, and then print it. So the fact that those tools exist within Glowforge Print just makes things like that so much easier.
Yeah.
Really cool. All right, well, it looks like the next part. Yeah,
no,
it finished.
there's one.
Oh, sorry, the slice finished.
There's one
but
more
there's
slice,
one
though?
more left.
Okay.
Yeah. So once again, our software is telling me, please shift the material forward.
Okay.
And if you like, I'll come around the front. Bailey can show you what I'm doing, but I'm literally just grabbing this and just moving it. Now, we don't have to be particularly precise because the cameras and the software will compensate for any inaccuracy.
And this will fit.
I think that'll fit the rest of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
We'll soon find out. But we just want to keep it kind of as straight as possible. If we're doing something really long, you can eventually work your way off the edge of the material if you are a little skewed with the material as it feeds through. But in general, just kind of push it sort of straight. And then we'll click continue. And then once again, we'll repeat that process. Camera's going to take a photo. We'll take some close-ups. We'll do some processing. The software will ask us to confirm if we're ready to print. We press yes, and that's it. That should be the final stage of this. Yeah.
I see the button glowing. That means it's doing something in there.
Absolutely. So maybe while that's happening, we could talk about our last tip, which is number 5. Now, you probably noticed from this demonstration that this isn't the quickest process. It can take a little while. And of course, if you're working with really large bits of material, they can get kind of expensive too. So if you're trying anything that's maybe a little more, how do I say, complex, I suppose things like this stool that's behind us.
Oh, yeah.
This here was printed on pass-through. It's pretty old now, so it's kind of showing its age. But the top of this was all printed on pass-through, and there's some joinery in here too. I would recommend that you take just that little bit of joinery and print that on a small scrap of material just to test the fit and the function and make sure everything works as you intended before you commit to using a large piece of material. I've been doing this a long time, but I make mistakes so often. And it's so frustrating when you spend all this time and the last piece doesn't fit. The circle was too small, the tab was too tight, anything like that. So quick little test before you go to pass-through pays dividends, I would say. The
great thing about Glowforge and the camera is that, once we print this sign, this one big piece of pass-through proof grade material, which is not cheap. I don't know off the top of my head how much that costs, but it's a big piece of wood, right? And it's pre-finished and sanded and ready to sell and everything. So you're not only getting this 3.5-foot sign out of it, the smaller sign, but you have a lot of material. You could probably print a couple hundred pairs of earrings or something with the scrap here.
Absolutely.
So you could use every single little bit of this piece of wood, which is great, and makes it a little easier to justify buying the big ones to do the big project. Because then think it's the big project, you can upsell to cover the material costs, but then so many more things.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really, really good point. We should also point out that you don't need to use proof grade for pass-through either.
Oh, right. No.
There's a lot of benefits to using proof grade that we love just in terms of the material in general, but none of it is really pertinent to pass-through specifically.
Right.
You could absolutely go to your hardware store and find a 20-inch wide, that's the maximum width you can use, piece of material, get a sheet of plywood, cut it into strips, and that would be totally fine. Just be aware that depending on the material that you use and the quality, if there's knots and voids within the sheet, that can affect how things cut. Sometimes it's a disappointing experience, but it all depends on what you're looking for.
Okay, so this is, I can see on your screen only 36
seconds,
so
but it's not quite the last print. We have literally 5 millimeters to go after this
really
slice.
Funny. Okay, we'll do a mini last print.
Yes, but it should be nice and quick.
And there, man, that's joining perfectly every time. So satisfying. Okay, so that's a big swoop, and so it's coming all the way out to...
The font that I chose actually ended up being really compact. And I thought, wow, that's not very impressive. So let's find something a little wider. Let's go all out. So yeah, this is working out quite nicely.
That's really funny though that it doesn't quite fit.
It's so close. It really is just 5 millimeters. But I should also say that we get so excited watching this every time, but we really shouldn't. It just works every time too. It's just one of those things that's so straightforward and so simple. I can't believe that just had 5 millimeters.
Oh, that is so silly.
Ridiculous.
Look at this. It's just this last little bit that we have to do next. That's so ridiculous. Okay, well, let's do it.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. We can talk about proof grade really quickly while it's finishing this last tip, if you like.
Absolutely.
We mentioned it. Everybody's printer comes with $150 worth of proof grade when you buy it.
So it's like the starter pack that'll be in the box with your Glowforge. Yeah.
Absolutely. And to Bailey's example about earrings, there's enough material in here to print 200 earrings.
So this will have, I can see right here, some medium natural leather. This is walnut. This is basswood, and there's probably acrylic and different plywood. So you can kind of try out a bit of our range, if you will. And they each have the QR code sticker on them. The camera reads that and does the settings for you. So it's just very like, toss it in, the settings will be correct. You don't have to do any testing. It's going to work every time. Yeah. Which is not everybody's cup of tea. For some people, they prefer the testing bit. They want to try a bunch of cutting a circle and see if it cuts through and if the engrave looks right and do it 20 times and like go for it. Yeah.
That was definitely me. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
But especially if you are running a business or you just have a lot of these to get through, like, you know, you're making centerpieces for a wedding and you're printing 30 of the same thing. It's nice to have some consistency of material sometimes and you just know what you're getting. Yeah. You can, though, save your own settings if you're not using Proofgrade. So Proofgrade settings are effectively all saved in the Glowforge software. You can save your own if you have like a, consistent, like these guys. We buy these on Amazon all the time. They're little, stone granite? Slate. There we go. Slate coasters, and we have that saved in our machine, and it works pretty consistently every time.
Yeah. Also, Bailey mentioned as well about making things for, say, a wedding or a gift. Yeah. The wood materials that we sell here are all pre-finished. They're sanded. Right. They have a furniture-grade finish on them.
Let us show you.
The result is really beautiful.
I want to hold this and I can peel with my no fingernails.
Do you want me to peel?
I've been biting my fingernails so badly lately. Oh, well, try. Just don't judge me, everyone.
It's all right. We're focused on the print, not the fingernails.
Look at that, though.
So this is a piece of medium cherry plywood. It's a hardwood veneer on top of an engineered core, which makes it really stable and really flat. And you can see there that it's been pre-finished. You can see the rich red color of the cherry showing through. It's really beautiful. And so if you're looking for something where the outcome is basically ready to go, ready to sell, ready to gift, Proofgrade's a good way to go.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
And you could paint this from here if you want. Because it's pre-finished, you might need to rough it with sandpaper a bit. The prototyping material that we sell, draft board, that's a little bit more porous and ready to accept like paints and colors and stuff. So is this ready? Not quite.
Just finishing
is it going to be like 2 seconds? I think it is, right? It's
it
just
may
going to
even
be
be
like
less.
zoop, zoop, zoop. It's going to be funny.
It really is
the shortest print ever done on a Glowforge. No, I've definitely done one or 2 second prints before. You just got to see what's going to happen.
You know,
the anticipation.
Yeah. And I mean, the point is, it's easy, right? If it's just 5 millimeters. It's another 3 minutes of our time. We slide the material forwards. We just say go.
It's really funny.
That's just how it goes sometimes. You know, it's easy. But you could take this as big as you want. I mean, I stretched this to be as big as I could fit on this material pretty much. We could go a little bigger if we wanted to.
If you didn't have that one, it could have been another like maybe 5 inches or something, and it could have been a little taller. Yeah.
Yeah, I could have squished it a little bit. Oh, there you go, look. Oh. So yeah, 5 seconds.
Okay, all right, don't blink, everyone. Ready?
And we're done!
Ta-da! That was ridiculous.
That was so silly. So then we'll pull this out.
There it is. Oh my gosh.
It is ready to take out as soon as the printer's finished. I've got it wedged in our roller stand right here.
Wow.
You can see there that it's cut through just perfectly. I guess we'll lift the top off right there.
Oh, beautiful. And I see the swoopy on the A.
Yeah, the dot for the I guess, is here. I think it fell out. But we can omit that if we wanted to. But yeah,
gorgeous.
I mean, if we, let me grab a piece of normal Proofgrade. Here we go. So this is the size of a piece of normal Proofgrade, 12 by 20 inches. So we couldn't fit anything this big on there.
Right.
And like we said, we could make this as big as we wanted to fit onto that sheet. We didn't want to use up too much of your time, so we went a little smaller. But you can see how you can print something significantly bigger.
And again, this is masked, and this will be that beautiful cherry underneath. Ah, so fun. So good. That was pretty simple of a project.
I think so, yeah. And again, you just needed to use Glowforge Premium, the tools that come with your Glowforge, a piece of pass-through material, could be Proofgrade, could be something from the hardware store. And that took, what, 30 minutes in total, including all the jabbering on that we did at you throughout
and
the
the last little print that was
the ridiculous
5
last
seconds
little print.
long. We probably could have avoided that one with the little butterfly, but that's okay. Yeah. Well, thanks for joining us, everyone. We love doing, you grabbing more pass-through stuff. We love doing these pass-through prints.
I remember this one here,
This is a super fun one. This is, if you haven't seen our catalog.glowforge.com, it's something you should check out. It has hundreds or maybe thousands at this point of print-ready projects, and this is one of them. But this was actually like a Christmas tree ornament that we blew up.
It was like 3 inches big, yeah. And we just made it giant and printed it on pass-through. So, you know, it can be as simple as a flat, name sign as complex as this, spinning wheels. It did have a propeller, but I broke it off. I'm
This
so
would
sorry.
look so cool hanging. I really think
Right?
it could be really nice room decor.
From a
It's
kid's
so
room or something
beautiful.
like that,
Yeah.
upside down like an acrobat.
I
kind of
love
thing.
it.
Yeah, so fun. All right.
Cool. Well, let us know if you liked this pass-through class or session, if you will. Let us know what else you want to see, what you're, wanting to tackle on your own Glowforge, what doesn't really make a lot of sense, what just can you print on this or that. We'd love to do it for you. So
Absolutely.
we'll see you next time.
Thanks again, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.